Five legacy. All right, we're glad to have you back. And at this moment, I have the Minister of State Aviation, Senator Hadi Sherika, as my guest tonight. Honorable Minister, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right. A year ago or thereabout, one of the most widely traveled aviation correspondents known globally, passed a comment on Nigeria's aviation industry with respect to the airports that we have. And when that comment was made, well, Nigeria reacted to that because actually he gave no mark, to the state of affairs at the Nigerian airports. But we know that the current administration is making some efforts to turn the situation around. Let us know some of the impact now being made by government intervention in the sector.
Well, I think I would like to start by saying the focus of the administration of Muhammadu Buhari on civil aviation transportation. And it is just to target all of those safety and security critical items that make air transportation safe and secure. Of course, you agree with me, post 9/11 has become, the aviation industry has become very different from what it was. Security has taken center stage, while safety also is the fulcrum or is at the center stage as well, not degrading security. However, perhaps I may add that quite a number of things have been done in terms of passenger facilitation and improvements in airports. Some of the airports, let's take Lagos, for example. Lagos was built perhaps in late 70s, early 80s. It was built to cater for 200,000 people. Today it is doing 8 million, over 8 million. It's just like a family of 2 or 3, a husband, wife, and a son, with or a daughter, with a 2-bedroom house. And they grew in the house. He married 3 other wives to make them 4. He gave birth to 13, 14 children. He has his aunties and cousins and everybody. And in that same 2-bedroom, 1 toilet, 1 kitchen. I mean, that's the story of Murtala Muhammad Airport. 200,000 people they were meant to cater for. Now it's catering for 8 million. There ought to be chaos there. The facility, got so degraded, so dilapidated, and you're doing repairs every now and then. But this government came in and we met that the previous administration has started to construct some terminal buildings in Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Abuja and Kano. It was at below 30%, but we took it up to 100% completion in Abuja, and it's commissioned, so also in Port Harcourt, and we commissioned Lagos and Kano. And then with the commission of Lagos, we intend to move the passengers to the new terminal and then perhaps tear down the existing structure and put it back up into a good shape. Currently, we've been talking to a certain contractor, and we would provide money for him to rehabilitate Lagos. So the focus is in safety, and most of these safety critical items are things that you don't see that this government has been doing. Passengers do not see them because the major concern is how well and safely you depart point A and land point B. It's more important than any other thing. But we did quite a lot in that regard. I think the government had installed a lot of equipment within the sector, instrument landing systems, for example, all over the place, weather systems all over the place, and other equipment that that help us to carry out a safe operation and then secure also the traveling public. So there are a lot of, I can remember even in weather, for example, we installed in about 10 airports the low-level wind shear equipment, and that wind shear, I remember, it says is the cause of the socialistic crash. Wind shear, by the way, is the shearing, literally, or tearing of air and changing the direction of air, and with such swiftness very quickly, it changes direction and then the speed also. So that's wind shear, and it causes a lot of accidents. But this government came and took all those safety critical issues, and began to place them. We spent quite a lot of time to plan all of this.
All right, well, I'm done. You started with safety now. What about safety of luggage? We recall what happened to the young student, who went for Lesser Hajj in Saudi Arabia. What about safety of luggage?
Yes, now we've improved upon that. We used it positively. We use it as a learning curve. We use it to understand the dynamics around those miscreants that are playing with passengers' luggage and then putting one thing or another. So we've installed some equipment there, and we have designed a program where all hands will be put on deck. Airports is like every agency is there, the SSS is there, the police is there, the civil defense is there, NDLA is there, aviation security is there, everybody is there. So we designed a program and a system and put it in place in our airports now to ensure that the passenger luggages are not tampered with, and this thing will not happen again. And that's the positive side. But on the negative side, we regret that it happened in an airport. And these things do happen in many airports around the world, and I don't think it should happen in our airports because Nigeria, of course, for its importance, for its geography, for what it offers, we intend to take the sector to the highest level, and I think we have done a lot in that regard. But like I said, we have put things in place now to look after that.
All right. Now, concessioning of some airports is one of the focal points of this administration. How has it gone?
Well, yes, because you see, this government is a social democratic government in place, and we don't intend to sell public assets because we've seen that other people have done it in the past and it failed. So what we want to do is to concession these airports and then take them back after a certain number of years. Investors will come and invest their money and improve upon those facilities, maintain them, manage them, and then bring them back for renegotiation in the future. It has gone very far. We have established a transaction advisory services, transaction advisors who have developed business cases for these airports, and we're soon going to go and public with a public tender. Part of the program or roadmap, there are quite a number of things. There is the national carrier, there is the concession of the airport, there is the MRO, which means maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility. There is the aviation leasing company to source cheap funds for aviation businesses in Nigeria. All of these we have appointed transaction advisors, and they have returned the outline business cases. In the case of, for example, the aviation leasing company and the MRO, the tender just closed, transparently done. It just closed a couple of days ago, and they will open it, and whoever is the winner will be given the opportunity to come and establish a maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Aviation is such that everything must be working in the same, at the same time and in unison. You have to have a maintenance base for you to be able to serve your airlines. You have to have a robust airline to be able to serve those maintenance centers. You have to have a leasing company that will allow you access cheap funds for you to engage in aviation activity. So they are all intertwined, all of these things in aviation. And I believe that we're getting there in terms of the concession that you ask. Specifically, we're about to get the outline business case to come. They have given us the prelim report. We looked at it. We are trying to tweak it here and there, and then put it back. And all of these, there is thanks to ICRC, which is the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. They have opened a web portal where all these things are uploaded transparently. And we also in the ministry have a website, and you can also, due to freedom of information, you can also ask us, over the things that we're doing, and all of these things are being done very transparently, and then they would be achieved in sooner than you expect.
Well, now, tell us about the National Air Carrier Project, which couldn't hold last year. Perhaps you're still focusing on that.
Yeah. The National Carrier is on course. Like I said, it was debated in council. The council approved it, and then Mr. President has directed us what to do, and we're in the process of doing that. So very soon the national carrier, would begin flying. Now, let me say something a bit about this national carrier. You see, the aviation business is directly related to the GDP of the country, and the population, and the market, and the geography. Nigeria, we are lucky, and is given by God, we thank him, is at the center of Africa, equidistant from all locations. So it's a good candidate for aviation business. If you look at the Central America to Central Europe, to Central Asia, all the way. That's where the aviation activity it's going because of geography, connectivity, etc. So, etc. Not to the poles, either to the south or to the north. And Nigeria has a good geography. That's one. Two, it has a population 200 million people, more than Northern Africa, all of it put together. I mean, it's the only country in Africa, if you ask me. And I used to say that if the West and Central African belt is put together, I mean, you look at West Africa and Central Africa, 600 million people. That is twice the population of US. That is equal to the continental Europe. And if that belt is the belt that holds Africa, then Nigeria must be the buckle. And also, I probably have to say here that all of the issues, the GDP in Nigeria, $450 billion is huge. Is the biggest GDP in Africa. It supports aviation business. And so all of these support establishment of national carrier. And that absence of national carrier, that's why tickets are very costly, for example, out of Nigeria. From Abuja to London is shorter than Accra to London, but you're paying more from Abuja to London because you have no alternative. And they're making a kill, all of these airlines. You can take example of Emirates. They're coming 3 times a day in Nigeria. The British people are coming 3 times a day, and there's no response from us. So they dictate the market, and then there's nothing we can do. We have to pay. But if we get our own, which will be private sector led and driven, then we will create that activity around our country.
How soon will this happen?
Very soon. Very soon. I agree with you. Very soon. Very, very soon.
No, all right. Just last week, there is a pronouncement that Enugu International Airport could be closed down if certain measures are not taken. What is the situation at the moment?
Well, yes, I made that statement in Lagos because at some point I kept going to Enugu. I went there 4 times, by the way, as a minister, and they had challenges. At the beginning of the runway, threshold of the runway, there was a market. And that market has an abattoir, and they sell grains and so on and so forth. It attracts birds to the airport, and then the birds get injected into aircraft engines, and that can cause a disaster. And we needed the market to be removed. One, and then we need to extend the runway. It's a very short runway in Enugu. We need to extend it. By the way, Enugu is what is Kaduna to the north,
yes,
or what Ibadan is to the southwest. So we cannot degrade Enugu. And then also there was a free zone at the other end of the runway. There's also radio masts. There are people who are built within the airport, which is disallowing us to expand the runway and reconstruct it. But thanks to the state government, finally they have removed the market. They have removed the masts, and they are on their way now to removing the free zone that is there at the end of the runway. And then finally, they need to also remove those people that built houses within the airport premises, because we need to secure the airport, and we need to keep it safe for operations. And then we move in there and then do the needful on the runway. Already they have a new terminal building, which is being concluded soon, as big as that of Port Harcourt. So it's only for us to do the runway and do the associated lightings and then the landing system and so on. But we can't extend it until we get all this done. And finally, there is a river there, also at the threshold of the runway, that we need to get approval also from government to divert the river, and perhaps even dam it and use it for the airport and for public use as well. Now,
tariffs for domestic route is said to be on the high side. Why is that so?
It is so for many reasons. Aviation business is it has a lot of factors that contributes to pricing of tickets. One, there is no competition, and that is what the national carrier will address. I give you an example. If I am operating an airplane that is new, out of the market these days, is more efficient, it burns less fuel. Fuel is about 25% of the cost of operation of airline. An airline business, is about 5% profit margin. If you have 25% of your operations being fuel, and you have airplanes that guzzle fuel, then of course, because they are old, also they go for maintenance, and these maintenance are expensive, and they come either by calendar or they come by usage. Sometimes the operations of the domestic airlines, currently are not in such a way that they will be efficient as to drive prices down. That is one. Competition. There's no competition because most of them, some will be operating 3 airplanes and 4 airplanes, except for currently we have Air Peace, for example. We have marginally Arik and perhaps Max Air and Asman. But all of them put together, for me, they are running inefficiently, and they're struggling to make it. And in that struggling to make it, there's no way they can make a profit margin that will sustain it. So prices are bound to rise in that circumstance.
All right, Honourable Minister, very briefly, your final thoughts.
Well, I think that aviation is going to grow. The sector is still very virgin. It's going to grow in folds in Nigeria. Many people are interested in coming to Nigeria. We have been having requests for extra frequencies from Qatar Airways, from Ethiopian Airlines, from even from British Airways. All of these airlines that are coming to Nigeria are requesting us to give them more and more frequency because the market exists. The market is there. And since the market is there, all we need is investments. And we're going there, we've marketed these things around the world, and once the national carrier is in place, it will help to address that. But more importantly, my thoughts is to continue to keep Nigerian aviation sector secure, safe, efficient, and prosperous. And that prosperity, our job as government is to lay down the enabling environment for these entrepreneurs to do very well. And certainly we have been doing so. Before I close, I'll let you know that the government, for example, has a policy. If you import airplane today or parts, you pay 0 duty. That is an encouragement.
All right, sir.
Of government.
All right, Honorable Minister of State Aviation, I would like to thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts on this issue tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you on Weekend File.
But the time is so short, sir. But thank you very much. It's a pleasure anyway.
We'll invite you on another platform.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. That's Senator Sirika, is of course Minister of State Aviation. This is Weekend File.